Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Digging Through Your Stash series where I'm playing along with Grace Tolman. And this is for letter E, and I'm going to be using embossing folders, which I believe Grace did as well. So what I'm doing, I showed you the two paper packs that I'm going to be using here, and I will link to these below. I love these packs. You can see I'm kind of going through the papers here, and they are not shiny like a lot of, sometimes the smaller ones can be. That made me happy. And there's like a ton of bird themes. So you guys know this is total my thing. There is also that little sheet of some cut aparts. Now this layout is going to be fairly simple. I am basically scrap lifting myself from years and years ago. I did a layout with 2-inch squares along the top, and I believe that layout was following a sketch by Allison Davison, but I don't really know, I don't know which sketch it was, but basically you take the squares and not to all of them, but to like half of them, I'm going to emboss. So I had originally thought maybe I was going to emboss these hearts, but first of all, by the way, when I was trying to use my Cuttlebug the other day and it broke before my live video, I was trying to use the darn C plate, and that's the one that broke. And for unbossing, it's the B plates you're supposed to use. So that was my own fault. So here I'm showing you, I was going to just use the hearts, but then I decided to kind of play it up, and I used a wood grain one and a little bird one that you could see where the birds were on the wire, and then the hearts. So I embossed the squares with the green leaves, and I embossed the no, not the birds, excuse me, the blue polka dotted one, and then I embossed the striped one. Now to lay them down, what I'm going to do here is I'm laying down some Scrappy tape. However you do this, I just figured this might be easier. You know, with lining up squares, they don't always line up, at least not for me. So I thought this would be an easy way to do it. But before I lay them down, I want to make sure that I have them the way I want them. So I'm going to take the paper and I'm going to line it up along the top and then just kind of do the opposite, if that makes sense. So you'll see me laying the squares along the top here. And I do go in a pattern. I thought I was going to go very random, but I decided to go in more of a pattern. And it goes that way across both pages. So that just, it was an easy, it looked nice and it flowed well with the papers that I had. So I tried to have some more kind of just neutral, like the polka dots and the stripes, and then some with the birds on it. So now I'm just going to take them. You can see here I flipped it around, and I'm just going to line them up and glue them. And I don't have to add adhesive to each one, although my hand did keep sticking to the Scrappy tape. So, but that is how those are going to be laid down, and it looks really good. So this layout is going to be really on the simple side. I'm going to have a couple very small clusters with some pieces that I fussy cut, and that's about it. But I really like it because the photos are of some bluebirds. My mom found a place near us. It's called Bickleton, and it's a little bit of a drive, but we went to see, they basically call it the bluebird capital of the world. And I don't know if it's of the world, but they call it the bluebird capital because they started putting up bluebird houses, and everywhere there's bluebirds. So I had a lot of fun. We actually went up there twice, once with my aunt. And, I just took my camera and played and enjoyed getting out of the house. It was something nice to do because it's such a small town. So these are just photos that I happened to get of him on one of the houses. This house has a little bit different shape to it, but the bird houses are all white with a blue roof like that. So that is, it was pretty cool to get a picture of the bird on the house. I did struggle with this part here a little bit. I'm trying to look at my layout to see. I didn't want to use a color here that was the same pattern. And I wish I would have thought about that a little bit more before picking out the patterns, but it's going to work out okay. So this is my little box of borders, which I swore last year I was going to organize and never did, as you can see. But I have these very old borders from Close to My Heart. You can see I took out the package there. And I just kind of wanted a straight across border. I didn't use a peel off because I didn't want a shiny border. I just wanted something subtle. So I pulled out a couple different ones to try. And then this one was pretty skinny and it went really well. I feel like the brown from the border picked up really well with the kind of the field background of the photos. So I'm going to put a border along the top, which this sketch does call for a border, at least my other layout that I did. I didn't pull out the sketch. I pulled out my older layout. I should have showed it in the photos, or in the video, but I just didn't think about it. So I apologize for that. But you guys will see it's a fairly simple one. It's just 2x2 squares all along the top. And let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 2x2. I wanted to make sure I was right on that. And then pictures. And you can do all 4x6 vertical photos along here. You could do some vertical and some horizontal 3x4s like I am doing. You could just do 4 vertical 4x6s. I keep saying 4x4s. I think I apologize, but I mean, any configuration, you can do 3x4s. You can add in one of these 4x6 areas. I keep saying 4x4s. Sorry. But if you wanted to take one of these 4x6 areas and do journaling, I think on my other layout, that's what I did. No, I might have just done the journaling on a little 3x4 area that you can see kind of goes underneath that photo. You know, I took 2 more photos and did them in 3x4 sizes so that they would make one 4x6 photo. You know, there's all different kind of variations. You could add another row of 2x2s along the bottom, which actually I wish now looking at it that I kind of would have done. So the embossing folders, you will see better closer up at the end photos if you really want to see, but you can tell in person that those pictures have been embossed, or I mean those pattern papers. So if you take out your embossing folders and play with them and know that you don't have to use them just on cards, that you can use them on layouts just like this as well. The only thing you might pay attention to is some embossing folders, if they really, really have a big embossing detail or something, then they could make the squares smaller than 2x2. So maybe you could emboss before you cut them or cut them a little larger. Just keep that in mind if you do that. But these are old embossing folders that, you know, old school. Most of them are probably Cuttlebug too. So I don't know if they still have any of these embossing folders, but any embossing folders would work. I mean, anything. If you did a boy layout, you could do any kind of texture, anything. If you could do anything with those embossing folders. So, and like I said, you can't really see it in this photo here. At least I can't on my screen. But when you look at the layout, like I said, at the photos at the end, you can really tell. Again, here was another spot where I really wasn't thinking about this spot when I was doing the other squares. So I decided I kind of liked the way this pattern looked the best out of all those patterns. And in that little holder there, you can see where I've gone ahead and fussy cut. I really liked those little bluebird houses, or the bluebird houses. You know what I'm saying. So I liked those. So I fussy cut those. And then there was a few different birds that I cut out that were along the lines of bluebirds. And then there were, I mean, you could use any birds on these layouts. It doesn't have to be. You can see in the pattern paper that there's different birds there too, but I just liked those ones from the little cut apart sheet. So I did cut out a couple butterflies that were blue, but I do not believe that I used them. I did put another one of the close to my heart strips along the bottom. I do think that this would actually be really fun if I had added another row of those pattern papers along the bottom, but I'm not going to go back and do it. It's just the layout's done. Now here's where I'm playing, and I did pull out that title. I want to say that's a Vicki Boutin title, but I'm not 100% sure. I looked around at my titles. I looked at my white ones. I didn't want to really make my own title. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to do this layout. So the simple things really kind of, to me, fit this page because these are just simple pictures of a bluebird, but yet I love these photos. So it doesn't take a lot to, you know, go crazy or anything like that. So that's why I liked this title. And I'm going to make a couple clusters. I'm going to make one in the top left and one in the bottom right by the title. And then in the photos at the end, you will see where I've added just a couple more clusters. And the reason I wanted to do that, you can see I'm adding a little bird here. I wanted to bring more of that black around because I felt like that black really brought your eye to the title. So there were a couple heart stickers from that same alphabet sheet, as you can see here in this first still shot photo. So that is my layout, and you know, now you can see the embossing a lot better. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please check out Grace's videos below. I will leave a link to her channel, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.